Commence primary ignition.
Hey there, fans and collectors. We're going to be taking a look at Boba Fett's Slave 1 from the Vintage Collection. Now, this is the 2020 new reprint of the Slave 1. So we've had a couple updates since when it was an Amazon exclusive in 2013. We'll go through that as we get the box open, as we take a look. But let's go. Before I begin, I want to remind everyone to hit the subscribe button below or click the little icon in the bottom right-hand corner of the video. This will help you keep updated on the new reviews and new news that I release as soon as I release it. Thanks for that. It really supports the channel and it helps our community grow. Here we have the front of the box for the Vintage Collection Boba Fett Slave 1. And on the front we see a beautiful recreated image with the figures of Han Solo being loaded into Slave 1, the iconic image that we all remember from Empire Strikes Back. And just a really cool, I wish, we have all these figures in the Vintage Collection. I wish we could get Bespin guards from the Vintage Collection recreated, but let's stick to the box. So as we turn here, we get a different image of the playability of the Slave 1 being able to open up and Boba Fett standing there with a Stormtrooper. As we continue moving along, we got the same image here. So we're just gonna go vertical. And now we have some more playability factors. So just beautiful, first off, beautiful boxing in the Vintage Collection. It always looks this gorgeous, but I like that how as it's modernized with the playability and with the models, they've still stuck to the same boxing feel and look. So the big addition to this version of the Slave 1 is added painting and engine detail in the underneath and a flight stand so you can display it mid-flight. So here we can see that. Moving on, we get a display of the Han Solo in carbonite figure, which does come with this vehicle, which is awesome. I love when vehicles come with figures. We also get a little bit more detail into the cockpit and the next one with Boba Fett there sitting in the pilot's seat. Really, really nice. As we go around, we have the other side of the boxing, which shows the playability of it being displayed in landing mode or in flight mode, so the wings that move up and down and the firing missiles. We also get the Kenner logo and the Hasbro logo on every side of the box, and the Empire Strikes Back wherever it can be seen. What is lacking in this reprint, which I think is weird in the 40th anniversary year, is the 40th anniversary sticker anywhere. And I guess they're sticking to the Vintage Collection boxing, which I do enjoy. All right, let's take a look at what's inside this great looking box. The interior of the box is as shown. We kind of have, it's actually very well packed inside of here. I think we have to take everything out in order to begin assembling it, but we have the wings and pieces in this nice little top plastic bit. We have a similar similar cardboard block on the other side, doesn't have anything in it. We have the cockpit front with the pictures and the instructions. The main body of the vehicle itself is on the very bottom. And in order to remove it, we have to remove the rest of the packaging in here. So one of the great changes to this Slave 1 was that it has extra detailing in the engines, and it also comes with a vertical stand so it can be displayed in its flying position. Really, really excited to see that fully taking flight. Over here on the other side with the wings, we also have the rest of the playability functions. So because it's Boba Fett Slave 1 from Empire Strikes Back, we do have a Han Solo frozen in carbonite in the packaging here, so he does fit in the cargo hold. We got the blaster cannons, we have seismic charges that drop out of the back, and the missiles that go in the cannons. And then here is the body itself unassembled. Beautifully sized, a very large piece. This is my torso. Let's get it together. Here is the Vintage Collection Slave 1 out of the box. And first impressions are just how truly gorgeous this vehicle looks. The size, the scope, the scaling, all around, Hasbro did an excellent job giving us a reprint of this vehicle. Here's a close-up of the instructions that come with the Slave 1, and it is styled in the old Kenner format with the Kenner logo on the bottom corner, Empire Strikes Back logo in the top, Vintage Collection logo in the bottom. So you can see that assembling it did come in pieces. We had to put the wings on. There were several pegs you have to force in there. You put the canopy on, the cannons on. There was some sticker application that was needed. And then the whole backside of it's playability. So we're running through all the playability functions, the turning ailerons, firing missiles, dropping seismic charges, open storage, displayability, and the unique accessories that come. The biggest change and update to this reprint is the fact that it's designed to be displayed flying and standing up. As we can see on the back here, the rear updated engines and painting and detail is just extensive in the back of Slave 1. Right here in the center, we have a close-up of the seismic charges. And these are the same charges that we see in Episode 2 when Jango Fett is outrunning Obi-Wan Kenobi. And so these can be deployed individually with switches on the side. So we flick these little switches and this opens up. And when it's vertical, it doesn't fall out, which is nice, but we can pull them out. I'll get them out later for accessories. But very easily deployable. Hit the button, you can see the little grabby arms let go and the bombs drop out. The detailing and added paint to the back of the vehicle really is most notable. It is gorgeously chromed out, painted, weathered in all of the right spaces, and just all around is a very nice, attractive piece to look at. As we can see here, the stabilizers move, so it can be in both landed position here or flight position. The cannons in the front rotate around. They also fire pretty easily and pretty well, pretty successfully. Nice addition to playability. The Vintage Collection Slave 1 also comes with a figurine accessory. So, of course, it's Han Solo in carbonite. Han Solo either fits in the cargo hold, which I'll show later, or behind the cockpit here. There's a nice little storage area, and he slides in and out. The figure's pretty nicely detailed. It seems pretty in scale with other 375 figures, and the painting on it is pretty well done. It's not like incredibly detailed, but it's also not like just a throwaway piece either. It is itself a nice Vintage Collection Han Solo in carbonite figure.
Put Captain Solo in the cargo hold.
Here we have a nice detailed look at the working gyroscopic cockpit. Since this starship looks differently when it's landed and in flight, it actually functions differently in the cockpit for the pilot too. So when they're landed horizontally, the pilot's kind of lying down, and when the pilot's flying, they're standing up in this cool way. It's nice to see the pilot's point of reference change as the vehicle's point of reference changes in flight. The cockpit is big enough for 3 figures. They have these little hip seat belts that are designed to have the figures hold in place. They do fit almost all figures. This figure is another Mandalorian from the Kol Vadar, that he has a rubber cape. So even with caped rubber figures, they do fit in the little clamps pretty well, if not a little bit more snug. But very cool design. The previous builds of Boba Fett Slave 1 only had room for 1 figure, and this one is brilliantly able to fit 3, and the Han Solo in carbonite up here. The Vintage Collection Slave 1 also comes with a pretty detailed interior. Not only do we have a detailed here cargo bay, which drops down where you can load in the accessoried, I don't know, cage or storage compartment. I'm not quite sure what it is, but it fits up there with ease, and it locks in place. Or you can also load the included Han Solo in carbonite in the cargo hold.
What if he doesn't survive? He's worth a lot to me.
And we have a nice little cross section with this door open into the cargo hold, as well as the interior of the cockpit, or the living quarters, I guess. There's some nice stickering. You did have to place some of the stickers, but some of the ones that are really far back here were placed for you.
I, as normal, wish they would place them for you, but I'm also mixed because it's fun to place stickers. There's pegs in the floor so you can actually situate your figures and have them stay in place. Really, really nice diorama building opportunities, and lets you fly around with them without having to worry about them clanking around down here. We have a small view into the cockpit, which is, like I said, the gyroscopic cockpit that moves around. The gangplank also comes down. You can also have some extra storage space underneath here, some smuggling panels. But very, very just tons of cool playability with this ship. As I mentioned before with the seismic charges, the buttons are on the front of the ship, so the button right here is for the seismic charge. I'll do a little demonstration. We'll lift it up and bombs away. A little more of a close-up view into the cargo bay here. So it does come down. We do have our little storage container. You can fit anything, weapons, blasters, figures. And then the gangplank. One of the biggest pros are the updates made to the cockpit. The fact that you can now fit 3 figures who are either caped or not caped, fully armored or not armored, is a huge change in this vehicle's playability and look. And the whole thing closes up very nicely if you'll excuse the glare from all these lights. I would certainly recommend picking up the Vintage Collection Slave 1 for any fan or collector. It truly is a gorgeous addition to this year's Vintage Collection, a beautiful homage to the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back, and an amazing recreation of one of my favorite vehicles in the Star Wars universe. These sold out pretty quickly for pre-order, but have recently been restocked on HasbroPulse.com. I'll leave the link below to where you can pick yours up today. If you're living in the States, I've also recently realized that Best Buy is a surprisingly good deliverer and store, a brick and mortar store to follow for Vintage Collection and Black Series Star Wars releases. So I'll leave links below and where you can pick yours up today. I definitely would recommend it. I think the only con I would have to throw on there is the price tag. So it is $150 base price. I'm sure in the secondary market, I know in the secondary market it'll shoot up, but I think the only con I would wish to have is to have the base price of these amazing vehicles be a little bit lower. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review. This vehicle truly is a great addition to anyone's vintage collection, and I hope I inspired you to go out and find your own today. Remember to keep your engines hot and your bounties cold. Have a great day and stay safe out there. I hope you enjoyed the video. Drop a like below and subscribe for the best toy news and reviews. Follow and connect with me on Instagram at Binary Sunset Review for more toy sightings and reviews.
I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in the universe.